Good morning, everybody. Stu Smith here going live. Hope you guys are well today, this Monday morning. Let's get after it. So, today I'm going to talk a little bit about some strategies that can really determine your future, as in optimal performance or longevity. In fact, the beauty of this is that it's both. So if you perform these 5 strategies consistently, you will have both optimal performance and you'll be able to do it for longer, right? If you build these habits of discipline, and you'll see. So these are really simple, right? And nobody likes these simple answers. Everybody would rather have a pill or a powder or something that they can just put into their food and drink, and next thing you know, it's magic and they got all the energy in the world to do all the stuff. Well, it doesn't really work that way. Here's how it works. Our number one recovery tool, right, and optimal performance tool: sleep. If you're not sleeping, doesn't matter. You're going to have all the symptoms, or some of the symptoms at least, of overtraining, overstress. That is how our body naturally relieve stress, and that's stress from physical activity, mental stress, emotional stress, work stress, relationship stress, you name it. That is how we mainly get it. But here's the good news. Not everybody can get 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. Lord knows I don't. I try my best. I might get 6. Sometimes I get 7. Most times I get 8, right? So, and that helps me tremendously. However, if you can't do that for whatever reason, work schedule, life's busy, things like that happens. You're young, probably don't need to worry about it too much, but you need to still worry about it and focus on your sleep. If you can't, and we all can at some point, you need to focus on everything else below that number one recovery tool to help your body naturally deal with stress and recover so you can perform optimally. And the next thing is nutrition. If you're not eating well and you're not sleeping well, that's just like 90% of your stress recovery right there. And you will have the symptoms of overtraining, overstressed, you name, whatever you want to call it, under recovery. It is brutal, especially if you're eating like crap and not sleeping well. You will see it. Your performance will suck. Your attitude will suck. It's really hard to do well when those two aren't working right for you. There's a third one, and by the way, I'm writing this article and I have links to more information on this. I'm just trying to go through this quick while you guys congregate, and we'll take some questions. But if you look in the description, there's some articles in there that really break it down, even videos too, of me interviewing a sleep doctor as well as interviewing a nutritionist, doctor of nutrition. Very helpful. The next one is hydration and electrolytes. And the reason why I put that separately from nutrition, because it is so important, especially if you are preparing for athletics, hot, humid activities, military training in this, because I have seen more people's spec ops dreams end simply by being dehydrated, not having electrolytes, cramping up, can't recover from it, or the nutrition side, low blood sugar, bonking, just can't move. Those two things right there are probably the quickest ways to end a spec ops training day. Not having good nutrition and not having good hydration and electrolyte, especially if you're sweating profusely. 1, 2, and 3 right there. So the other one is add active recovery days. I would highly recommend adding a mobility day to your training day. If you like to do two-a-days, maybe make one of those more non-impact cardio based with stretching and foam rolling and massage tooling, just so you're working out any aches and pains and inflammation that you may be creating from high stress environment, whether that is lack of sleep, hard workouts, high intensity workouts. So make a workout day less intense and easy. Still keep moving. Don't do nothing. Just keep moving. The other one, this is number 5, and I'll get to your questions. Listen to your body. This is something that takes time. I get, because when you're young, it's real easy to just say, "Oh, screw it, I'm gonna crush this workout even though I'm sick." Um, and there's some things that you gain in that, but for the most part, if you're sick, let yourself heal. You'll probably get over that illness quicker, and you can actually start training better. But it's a good time to do something active recovery. You don't have to do nothing just because you don't feel well. In fact, I listened to my body the other day last week. Not sure what happened, but my hip was tweaked and my foot hurt. Might have stepped funny on something. But we had a big run. And I'm like, you know what, guys? You guys go do the track workout. I'm doing another mobility day. And we did mobility day the day before. So not sure why I felt that way. Maybe I twisted something. I was moving some furniture that day, so maybe that was it. I don't know. But anyway, I needed to take another day. So I did. And the next day, day 5 of the week, Friday, I was able to run. Now, it was on soft surfaces. When I ran on concrete, it still kind of hurt a little bit, but when I was running on sand, no problem. But I listened to my body and moved on. Today I ran fine, 3 or 4 miles, and took the weekend of some non-impact cardio activity and stretching, and got to listen. So listen to your body. If you need to pull back and take a recovery day or a rest day altogether, you need that. If you miss a few days of the program, sometimes you need it. Try to make it up. Start where you left off. All right. So anyway, that's kind of where I'm going with the top 5 things for both optimal performance and longevity. You do those 5 things, I promise you'll see better performance, and you will see longevity. Being able to do it longer. Of course, training well matters as well. Get some good training programs in there. All right, so let me start over here on Instagram first. Looks like there's several questions pop up. Is 26 years too old, too late to apply for buds? No. That's probably my best shape ever from 25 to 35. Now, recovery slows down a little bit after 30, but you're still young enough to where doesn't matter. I wish I was 26. That's, man, that's 29 years ago. So, yeah, but I would go to buds at 26. Hell yeah. I went at 22, and there were guys 25, 26 that were crushing it. Have you ever heard of someone's tailbone aching after sit-ups? Because that's what happens to me. Yeah, absolutely. It happens. In fact, there's you do sit-ups on pavement out at buds or sand sometimes, and you still get these little, what we called grinder reminders. Remember, we got a little grinder PT going. And you get reminded of that every time you get wet and sandy, because that salt water goes right across your butt, a little strawberry on your butt, and you're like, ooh, okay, got something back there. But yeah, it's normal. My advice, just keep it clean. Make sure you're putting alcohol on it at the end of the day. My advice, so it doesn't happen, is I remember my butt bone was bleeding, first phase buds, and I just lean over to my left and do my sit-ups that way, or lean to my right, do my sit-ups that way. That seemed to help. Wasn't fun, but it seemed to help. I ended up missing a couple of days of the program and combining workouts to perform a backlog that I try to complete, but looking at it now, it's 4,500 yards of swimming alone. Well, maybe not do it all in one day. Spread it out. You don't have to swim 4,500 yards in a day, but I will tell you this. If you're preparing for buds, you're going to do 4,000 yards of swimming every week with a pair of fins on in the ocean. It's called the 2-mile ocean swim. That's 4,000 yards. That's 2 nautical miles. So, 4,500 yards is not out of the question. But if you're not ready for it, it could be. It could hurt your ankles, hurt your hips, hurt your knees. You might not be ready for it, so don't do it if you're not ready for it. Sometimes combining workouts and doubling your mileage, doubling your reps, not the smartest idea. Just here's the deal. Just because I give you 6 workouts to do doesn't mean you have to finish them in 7 days. Give yourself 9, 10 days to finish it if you need to. And then just start day 1 whenever you're ready. Just be smart about it. I want to know if your books can be shipped to Argentina. Yep, I will ship them anywhere. Where are you based in Maryland if I wish to join your workouts? We are right outside of Annapolis, Maryland. Sometimes we work out in Annapolis. Most of the time we work out in Severna Park. But if you go to heroesoftomorrow.org, you will see that. In fact, I'll put it in the comment section for you. You'll see our schedule and what we do and where we do it and what time we do it. But it's only for people preparing to serve. What'd you do after the teams? You see it. I got out, moved into a new house, had a baby, got a new job, and I will tell you, probably, all that stuff happening all at once was probably one of the most stressful years of my life, be honest with you. Just a lot of change. I don't even remember it. Just a lot of hard work. So had surgery. Yeah, I was all messed up. So yeah, I've been working out and writing about it now for 25 years. So self-employed for that long. Though I did pick up some contracting jobs after 9/11. Let's see. Looks like Ryan's taking notes over there. All right, let's see. My current job, I have to be on call. If I get a call midway through the workout, do I repeat the same workout the next day or start the next day's workout? Good question. My advice is this: get as much done of that day as you can. If you feel like you've done 50, 60% of it, call it a day. Go take your call, go do your job, what you need to do. Move on to the next one. If, let's say, you only got 25, not even 50% of it, I would probably repeat that one, right? Use that as a warm-up, and, is one of those days where you just did something. Be happy you did something, and then repeat it on the next day. Let's see. Morning Stu, want to shave off 2 minutes off my 1.5 miles in a month. Woo! I don't know. Just depends. As long as you're like decent at running, you got good technique, you're not overweight, that's a lot to shave off. If you go from 11 to 9 minutes, let's say, okay, you're 10:30. 10:30 to 8:30? Yeah, that's hard. 10:30 to 9, doable. Sub 9, much harder. So I would say very logical, not a problem to get to 9:30. in a month, maybe 9 flat, 6 weeks, just from like standard, typical improvements I've seen over the years. Um, it's not impossible to go from 10:30 to 8:30, but it may take you 8 to 12 weeks to do because those last 30 seconds are tough. Going from a 7-minute mile to a 6-minute mile, not that hard. And that's basically what you're doing when you go from a 10:30 to a 9-minute. Practice running 9-minute or 6-minute miles. It means a 90-second quarter, means a 3-minute half mile, means a 6-minute mile. Start getting used to those um, intervals so you can handle that. Oh, it looked like we got some pretty good questions. In fact, if you go to my article, in fact, I'll put it in here, running plan, to and through selection. You'll like this one because it teaches both the 7-minute mile pace and the 6-minute mile pace. The 7-minute mile pace is for your 4-mile timed runs. 6-minute mile pace is for your, or faster, is for your 1.5-mile, 2-mile timed runs, depending on what branch of service you are. Let's see. Somebody asked something about Rabado up here. Ryan did. Does Rabado come from hydration and not doing these 5 habits? No. It does come from being dehydrated, being malnourished. When I say malnourished, just didn't eat properly before hard workouts. And it's relative. That's the problem. Like somebody can get rhabdo from doing a PT pyramid from 1 to 10 back down to 1 if they're not used to working out like that. In fact, people get rhabdo all the time going through boot camp, like Army boot camp. It's just something that occurs. They're not used to the repetitions of Army boot camp, not used to rucking, not used to running, hot, humid, heat casualties. That all brings it about. But usually it comes from people who are a little bit bigger. They have a lot of muscle mass, or they just overwork themselves to a point where the muscles are just start eating themselves. So it comes from dehydration, heat, casualty, electrolytes, just really hard work. I've seen people actually get rhabdo from doing a pyramid, and I've also seen them get rhabdo from doing a Murph. Um, which is a hard exercise. But if you're not used to doing that type of stuff, you shouldn't be doing it. You shouldn't be doing it so hard. Like people don't realize that even calisthenics for 45 minutes to an hour can give you rhabdo. There's a follow-up question here. It looks like, does rhabdo come from negligence of these 5 strategies? Is where muscle breaks down in the bloodstream. Many have warned of this. I'd say the biggest negligence is, like we just mentioned, the nutrition, the hydration, the electrolytes, and just purely relative to your current condition, doing too much. Some people's warm up is another person's rhabdo. I'm telling you, it can happen. So, yeah, you don't want it. You definitely don't want it. Would you recommend tracking calories and protein, or winging it and making good food choices enough? You know what? I will be honest with you. I try to track as close as I can. I don't like the idea of just winging it. But I will tell you this, once you track it enough and you start like putting food on a plate, because we tend to be creatures of habit. Like I'll have chicken and rice and potatoes and broccoli, right? I put that on a plate, right? I know what that looks like. I can weigh it, I can measure it, and I know that's going to be about 450 calories. and depending on the how much I actually do eat. After a while, you don't need to keep counting it. This plate that you eat regularly is going to be 450 calories. Um, that's how I kind of do it. So the answer is kind of yes and no. You know, you start tracking all of the stuff that you eat on regular occasion. Like I said, we're creatures of habit. Sometimes it's steak on one day, chicken on one day, pizza on one day, whatever, soup on the other, salads, every day, so, my advice is measure what you normally eat. And then from anytime you go outside this list of 10 common meals that you eat, add that tracking process to it, because that's what usually messes us up, whether it's a high calorie drink, high calorie snack. That is usually what gets us off of our um, weight gain or weight loss goals. I can complete the 1-10-1 pyramid pretty comfortably. Should I make it harder and go 2-11-2 or 3-12-3? Or is 1-10-1 enough volume? Well, good question. We usually do a 1-10-1, but we double the pull up or push ups, triple the squats, double the dips, whatever you feel like you want to double, and you go up, by whatever you do on pull ups, you double and triple for the other exercises. But I tell you what, if you go 1 to 10 back to 1, the beauty of that is you square that top number of that pyramid. If you only do it once, like 1-10 and then 9-8-7-6, you square that, and that's the number of reps that you just did for pull-ups. So if you times 2 on the push-ups, you did 200 push-ups. Times 3 for the squats, you done 300 squats. That's why I like the 1-10-1 for a Murph. It's 19 sets to get a Murph, which is a lot of sets. Takes a little bit longer, but it's a good way to get the volume without burning yourself out too soon. But if you want to go a little higher, try a 1-12-1. That's 144. Double that for push-ups, triple that for squats or sit-ups even. And if you want to go to 15, that's 225. That's a whole lot, right? So usually what we do is after 12, we won't return down. We'll just stop at the peak. So we'll go 1 to 15. I think that's like 120. If you go 1 to 20, really tough. That's 210. And you don't come back down. Otherwise, that'd be 400 pull-ups. That's a lot. So, yeah, I mean, make it harder, especially if it's too easy. I see you and you, Jeff Nichols, always make videos together. What's the difference between your guys' programs? The methodology, the approach? We have some differences in our programming. We're friends, and we know that, programs can be different. I always tell Jeff and everybody who asks that question is I have a way to train, not the only way to train. They're similar in some aspects, different in others. Like I prefer a little bit higher mileage, 20, 25, 30, maybe even 35 miles. But I also add in that caveat is it depends. I don't have a universal, this is where you need to be running before you go to buds. Some people need to run more. Some people don't need to run more. Some people need to lift. Some people don't need to lift. Some people need to do more calisthenics. Some people don't need to do more calisthenics. They need to maintain all of that. They need to be good at lifting and calisthenics and running and swimming and rucking. But, where that level of mileage is usually depends on the individual athlete, not the particular school. So that's, there's some differences there, but I respect his training. It will work for you. I know mine will work for you as well. So it really depends on you and what works for you. And sometimes you gotta figure that out. My advice is do this. Get on a program, see if it works. If it doesn't work, try something new. Or be patient, give it 6, 8, 12 weeks. See if you're seeing the results you want. That's probably the best way to do it. And to be honest with you, it's really the only way to see if something's going to work for you is you just got to try it. How do you know if you have good running technique? Good question. There's several things that are good cues for running. In fact, if you Google that term, running cues, you'll have some CUES, yeah, cues, running cues. Um, you'll get some good feedback from a variety of runners. A lot of it is arm swing. Are you clenching your fists when you're running? Real tight, you're gritting your teeth. Relax everything, relax all that stuff. So relax your hands, relax your face. That matters, right? If you're not relaxing your upper body and your face, and your jaw, that can really interfere with your running. Just not fluid. Stride, do you overstride? Do you understride? Do you hit midfoot? Do you hit on your heels? These are little things that you need to observe and need to feel. My advice is don't overstride, don't hit on your heels. Try to shorten your stride to like kind of a middle stride and, land midfoot. That's what I recommend. Arm swing, relax. A little saying called hip to lip. You don't have to exaggerate it that far, but hand goes past your hip, hand comes close to your lip. Breathing is very important. A lot of people, have no breathing rhythm whatsoever. You need a breathing rhythm. You need to breathe like 2 to 3 steps. So 1, 2, 3, inhale. 1, 2, exhale. 1, 2, 3 steps inhale. 1, 2, exhale. If you can keep that, you might be able to exhale through your mouth faster than your nose. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of things that you can find running technique wise. So check it out. Check out some of those. Get somebody to watch you. Get somebody to film you running like right past them, and then take a look at it. See what you see. Compare it to other people doing the same run. Can you please explain what a push-up pyramid workout is? Wow. Yeah, I'm happy to. It is one of my favorite workouts I've been doing since the 80s. You do 1 push-up, then 2 push-ups, then 3 push-ups, then 4 push-ups, then 5 push-ups, and you work your way up to 10, and you work your way back down. Now, I call that a warm-up because I don't multiply it by anything. It's just, like today, we did a pyramid and we stopped at 10. It's only 55 reps. 1 to 10 is 55 reps, and that's our warm-up. We'll jog 100 yards, do 1 push-up. Jog 100 yards, do 2 push-ups. Just go back and forth. 100, 100, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Next thing you know, you've done 55 push-ups, and you've done 1,000 yards of running, jogging, and you're ready for the actual workout itself, which was lifting and doing more push-ups. And we also did some pull-ups too. We actually did the same thing with pull-ups, 1 to 10 as well. So that's the pyramid, and you can Google it. All you got to do is put up PT pyramid or push-up pyramid with my name in it, and you'll see countless articles on the pyramid. In fact, just about every one of my books has a pyramid in it. It's just a classic volume building workout. Seriously, been doing it since 1987 is when I learned it. Let's see. Fist clench is bad. Whoa, didn't know that. Yeah, man. You can't run like this. What did you do? Yeah, relax your hands, right? Relax your wrists all together. Don't grip. Have forearms, just everything relaxed. Your arm swing goes much smoother. What'd you do on weekends during the buds? I had some buddies there that were also Navy friends of mine from the academy. Went to go hang out with them. They all had nice places in like Mission Beach and Pacific Beach. We go hang out at their place, some of the bars down there, hang out. Most of the time though, I just licked my wounds. Didn't drink a whole lot. Drank a couple times, just depend on what event we just crushed. Um, but I was really um, I was really into trying to recover on the weekends. So do yourself a favor, lick your wounds on the weekends, take care of any cuts and things like that that can get infected, rest your muscles, do some massaging, stretching. I wish I'd have had one of these back then. Oh man, these little car buffers are the best for just massage tools. They don't spin, they just vibrate. Um, so it's not a rotary sander, it's an actual orbital car buffer. Um, Learned that from Jeff, who learned it from a Phillies, uh, Philadelphia Phillies coach who used it on pitching arms. So if it works for pitching arms that people pay millions of dollars for, it's good enough for my thighs and hips. Let's see. Yeah, but yeah, just lick your wounds. There's a lot of stuff to do out there. A lot of cool stuff. What running or rucking shoes do you use, or would you recommend in general guidelines? Is running in long pants and boots for 4 miles something you implement in your program? Yeah, some of my guys run in boots. But I tell you right now, these days, these Nike boots that you get, they're so much better than the old jungle boots that we were issued that I probably wouldn't have made that recommendation to run as much in those jungle boots. But when I got out, they switched to Bates, and that Bates boots were really good. They're kind of like running boots. Um, so, my recommendation changed once the boots got better. So we still run about 50% in boots, 50% in running shoes. And yes, we run in pants. I mean, a lot of times we work out outside in the winter, so we're running in all kinds of clothes just to stay warm. But we'll run in pants even in the summer. Yeah, Nike Combat Gen 2s is what they issue now. Um, what should the first point of contact on foot during running? Um, watch. Don't take my word for it. Um, watch some slow motion running videos of world class runners and see what they do. I like the fact that it looks almost for a second that they're heel striking, but by the time they get all of their body weight on their foot, they are perfectly flat. So it may look like they reach out, but by the time they put weight on their foot, it's actually more of a midfoot strike. So it's kind of up to you. Everybody's a little bit different, but I recommend more of a midfoot strike. I don't overstride anymore. I think I used to. Probably had some aches and pains from it because I had that initial heel hits and then kind of roll on my foot. I call it like a foot roll. But my advice is this: if you really want to cue if you're running correctly, I use something called the audible test. Um, the audible test is if you can hear your foot, smacking the ground like that, chances are you're not running right. Right? It should be fairly quiet, whenever you are running. Is 30 seconds a good rest between push-up sets? Here's the thing is rarely I don't do just push-up pyramids. Because you asked about pyramids earlier, I'm assuming you're continuing that. Do something else. Do a minute worth of sit-ups. Go for a run for 2 minutes. Make it an active rest versus just resting. Do a set of push-ups and sit down, look at your phone. Right? I mean, if you really want to build muscle stamina, you really need to start learning how to recover muscle groups while you work another muscle group or your heart and lungs while you run. Rest with running is something that I've been saying for years. Rest with abs, something I've been saying for years. So make it an active rest. But yeah, 30 seconds to a minute, sure, go for it. But be doing something. You can get a lot more done that way for sure. Let's see. What strength workouts do you recommend for longevity? I mean, I use all of them. Everything from 3 sets of 10, 5 by 5s. One thing I will tell you this, and I'd say I am training for longevity now. Probably been doing it now for like 15 years. Like after I turned 40, I'm 55 now. I will rarely ever do a 1 rep max. Just one of those things that I'll still go heavy, do 2 or 3 rep maxes. But I always leave that last one alone because if you want to be in this game for longevity and not be injured all the time, there's a saying I use called 80% is the new 100%. It's like you don't run at your fastest, right? Unless you're really warmed up, perfectly warmed up. Like today I did sprints, but probably 85-90% sprints. Reps, leave one on the table. Don't go for that last rep. Just trust me. Last thing you want to do is be pushing this way and it fails and it goes the other way. That's when injuries happen. Don't want to run too much. Don't want to run too fast. Don't want to lift too much. Don't want to do too many reps. You can still do a lot. I mean, I still do workouts with 100, 150 pull-ups in them, 200-300 push-ups. But more than that, I can definitely feel like the soreness creeping in, and that's never good. To be tight going into a next workout. Next thing you know, you pull a muscle. You're down for a little bit. So, or worse, you tear a ligament or tendon or something. So anyway, if you're really training for longevity, that's what I recommend. But all of them: strength, squats, deadlifts, bench press, overhead press. I don't neglect any of them. But I will say this: I don't go too heavy anymore. Maybe body weight. Body weight for everything. Body weight 1.5 times body weight for like squats and deadlifts. But I don't think I'm gonna do 2 times body weight. I'm 200 pounds, so 400-pound deadlifts for me. If I'm ever gonna lift 400 pounds, I'm gonna use a dolly to lift it in real life. So that's just my philosophy on it, and it keeps me from hurting myself. What age did I go to Buds? I was an officer, and I went at 22 years old, right after Naval Academy in 1991. I'm having trouble going from the initial pull out to switching over to the first stroke. Seems like I'm always losing my momentum. Well, you must have not read my article. It's a debate to pull out or not. In fact, read that article to pull out or not. If that's you, my advice is this: take it out altogether, kick off that wall, hold that glide until you feel yourself starting to slow down. Boom, turn and breathe immediately for your first stroke. And you will see that, compared to doing a double arm pull and skipping that breath, one, you still get over there in roughly the same number of strokes, maybe an added half or one, which is no big deal. But you get an extra breath every length, which makes a big difference. You're doing 20 lengths of a pool, 25-yard pool. That matters. Okay, so try it out. I have seen people drop 30 to 45 seconds off their swim time by taking out a bad double arm pull. All right, I got a couple more time for questions. Can you differentiate if you're someone who thinks they can be a SEAL or legitimately prepared? You know what? I don't think I have enough time to differentiate that. I mean, I see a lot of people that think they can, but if you're not willing to put in the work, sometimes 2, 3 hours a day of working out, you got to put in the time. If you're doing a 30-minute gym workout and you think you're preparing yourself for buds or any spec ops job for that matter, you're fooling yourself. What are optimal miles per week of running? I'm running 20 to 25 right now. Is that a good number? Yes. In fact, I usually keep mine at 25 a week unless it's my winter lift cycle, and I'll drop it down to like 10, maybe 12 a week. But I usually keep it at 20, 25. Sometimes I'll hit 30, but most of the year I'm at 20 to 25, and it's perfect for me. Kind of a heavier runner. I do a lot of softer ground running, so I'm running on grass, track, rubberized track, beach, sand. There's a couple of days where it's a little bit more pavement than grass, but for the most part, I'm running on softer ground, which makes a big difference too. We had one of our guys do a 100-mile race the other day, and I was making fun of him before he goes. I said, all right, here's the deal. You ran 100 miles. It's about 2 weeks ago. I said, let's see who runs the most by the end of October. Right? So he got 100 miles head start on me. I got 25 that week, and he's at 100 miles. I'm at 50 this week. He's still at 100 miles, hadn't run yet. I saw him in a boot. I think I'm going to beat him, because I don't think he's running yet. So, yeah, I think that's a good number. Are there special operations teams that will take people in their late 30s? Green Berets and Air Force PJs, but you got to be squared away. If you're running 2 miles to chow and back thrice a day, that's a nice one. Does that put up your mile volume wise to 20 to 20 miles per week? Now, when somebody asked me what's optimal for running, I wasn't saying anything about buds, right? If you're going to buds, you probably need at least, it depends. If you grew up running all your life, you don't need 50 miles a week of running. You're already used to that, right? So you need more strength training than you do running before you go to buds. If you're new to running, you need to progressively build up gently to be able to get, a high volume to do that. And by the way, it's, chow is not that tough. It's a slow jog and sometimes it's a walk. So you're on your feet a lot, but you're not necessarily running. It's a slow one unless you're running late. I think I probably ran to chow a handful of times, but slow jogged, walked most of the time. How many days a week would you run for buds prep? 5 to 6. I mean, we run 5 days, 6, with a mobility day thrown in there. Take a day off, do a mobility day, non-impact cardio. But any day we're not running, we're usually doing some non-impact cardio too, swimming or biking, things like that. You can get a lot of cardio um, that doesn't have to be all running. You know, you can. You know, I love the triathlon method of running, or I'm sorry, of cardio, where 2/3 of your cardio is non-impact cardio. That's a really good one for someone who's not used to running a lot of miles, and you progress logically with it. Besides, you got to swim anyway. Um, I've just seen people run way too much and just get hurt. 50 plus, 60. They just, I've seen people actually do that, but mostly it was all slow running, and they couldn't They couldn't even pass the 4 mile timed run, even though they were running 50, 60 miles a week because they just got good at running slow. How many days a week would you run for Bud's prep? Did I just answer that question? I'd say 5 days a week. At Bud's, you're only going to run 5 days a week. Working my butt off on your program, but not really seeing any results. Not sure what's wrong with me. I don't know. Email me. Give me some details. Those 5 things I talked about at the beginning of this could be affecting your performance: sleep, nutrition, hydration, electrolytes. Maybe it's too hard for you and you might need to go something easier. I don't know. So email me. We can talk it through. What if a work job where I work 6 to 8 miles a day? Yeah, that's a lot. I think that's great. I would count it as I'd count it part of your mileage, not of running mileage, but definitely walking and working mileage. Here's the deal. If you go do your workout in the morning, go do another workout in the afternoon, I think that's great. And I would rather see people working all day. In between that, doesn't have to be super hard work, but up and about doing things. Manual labor is even better, because guess what? A day of spec ops training is going to be hard workout first thing in the morning. You're going to be on your feet all day doing stuff. Might go in a classroom for half an hour, but then you go in, go do something else, do an obstacle course, take care of boats. You're always on your feet doing stuff. So if you can get used to working out and doing stuff and working out again, that's probably the best preparation you can do versus working out in the morning, eating real, nice big meal, taking a 2 hour nap in the morning, go eat lunch, go work out again, you know, rest in the afternoon, go watch some TV, and then go work out again. That's, you're getting 3 good workouts in there, but is it realistic to your training? What's going to happen when you're on your feet all day, and you're not be able to take a nap? No nap time out there, I promise you. All right, so I got a couple of articles on running and running posture. Check it out. My advice is just Google that term. You'll see a whole bunch of running videos on people better at running, coaching running than I am. You know, I personally have a slight lean forward when I run. Not too big of a lean, but I'm not running straight up either. So just, shoulders back, relaxed, arm swing, all that stuff. Let's see. Looks like I got a couple more questions, then I got to go. Been running for a few months now. Not had shin splints, but my calves feel like they take a lot of the ground force. Could be due to bad running form. Could be form. Could be bad shoes. I would suggest getting a good pair of running shoes. So many varieties out there. I personally like On Cloud. I like Brooks. Can't go wrong with those for me, especially a 200-pound runner. Could be form, could be in fact you're running like on all concrete. My advice would be to try to mix it up and run on some grass, run on a track, run on the beach if you have a beach. All right, let's see. Last one, then I got to go. But if I missed your question, please read this little thing down here, little ticker that's going by. You can email me, stu@stewsmith.com, right here. Check out Stu Smith Fitness. Use Live15 coupon code. Save yourself 15% on some of those programs we were talking about. Many times, I feel charged after sleeping 4 to 5 hours. Do you recommend I train on this amount of sleep? Yes. Sometimes you have to. You get used to it. Maybe you lower the intensity or something if you feel like you're burning out. But listen to your body. Just like I said at the very beginning, listen to the body. All right, folks, I got to go. Got stuff to do. Got to finish this article, but it'll be up on military.com later today. I may share it on social media. on my story at Instagram as well. So until tomorrow, I'll be doing some CSS critiques tomorrow. So bring some questions, and if you got some videos you want me to critique, send them to me. All right, folks. I'll see you later. You guys have a good day.